Today I'd like to share my journey as an artist, starting with the power of words in part 1, Poetry on Music. When I was studying law, part of the course was to do a formal debate called a moot, and I really struggled with the public speaking side. I had sharp pains in my arms throughout the day, and after that I decided I needed to be a lot more Ned Bo and find a way to beat the fear. I read How to Effectively Speak by Dale Carnegie, and I found public speaking was the number one thing most people were scared of, and it helped. In my first week of uni, I happened to write my first poem called The Green Frog. It was inspired by a man called Scroobius Pip from South London and his dreamlike style. A month or so later, I was in Los Angeles with some friends at a venue called the Poetry Lounge, which I later found out was the largest open mic night in the world. A friend of mine convinced me to read something, and I found the Green Frog poem on my phone. I tried to hide my nerves by putting my hand behind my back and just really focus on the words.
Brushed my teeth yawning. I thought about the rude doom searching reality, and I started to assess what really mattered to me. Reaching for the phone or food in the kitchen, I'm looking at the closest home for my restrictions. I can't be that trapped green frog in a jar. I need to find the king within and search close and far. Thank you.
I really enjoyed the process. Expressing my experiences out loud was incredibly empowering and exciting. I came back to the UK and began combining my love for film with poetry. My writing got darker and darker and more serious, as the topics that weren't being spoken about anywhere were the ones that I really wanted to read. I would practice the art form by travelling to any poetry nights I could find, all around London, in areas such as Shoreditch, Hammersmith and Covent Garden.
Gave her husband everything he ever needed, yet she still bleeded that night. This time it wouldn't stop, couldn't be covered by a cloth. Dreams ripped out of her heart. Left alone in the darkest of dark.
These spaces were okay, but I really wanted to see poetry back in Sikh spaces. I spoke to some friends and I founded the first Sikh open mic night called Saffron Mic. This gave myself and other poets a space to share. The first night featured myself, Jugraj Singh, who would later create Basics of Sikhi, and Ravi Singh from Khalsa Aid. My open mic nights became practice, and Saffron Mic became the major event to look forward to. The practice meant I was able to shape my style more and more, and at Farrago in Covent Garden, I began to be featured as a poet. What was fun with Farrago was it was a slam poetry event, which meant there was a competitive element. Your poetry could win, and coming from death poetry, I was all in.
And as she packs away the games, she's overwhelmed with shame and calls her son through and asks, "Is it too late to play with you?"
This then led me to enter the Farrago Slam Poetry annual competition held in Paris, and in 2014 and 2015 I was a finalist. Around this time I wrote a poem so painful and so painfully honest. When I finished it, I told myself I would never share it with anyone, and it was called The Book of Nirveed Chapter 1. A few months later, when we were hosting Saffron Mic 3, the biggest night we had done so far, with over 200 people in attendance and 18 artists, I decided to do a Brené Brown and be as vulnerable as humanly possible for me at the time. Not only did I invite my friends, I also invited my family and extended family to come and hear a poem about my mistakes, my deepest insecurities, and how my flaws had got me into trouble. Horrifying stories of my life that I'd never shared with them before.
Joined a gang with new fake mates. I stayed up late, smoked more weed, got lost in the greed, used each other, abused each other, and on my 17th birthday fought in a new way, arms and legs flinging, everyone bringing a new rage. I just needed to rip out a new page.
I felt like I really broke through something that night. I didn't know at the time, but there was someone in the audience that would totally change my life and my poetry for the better. After Saffron Mic 3, I found myself reading poetry faster and faster.
And then we laughed, just souls giggle, wiggle the ground, the sound vibration, making trauma vacant. I sit patient against the memory that I'm facing. I'm wasting no time for the fall. I'm springing up.
And at a show called Starving Artists, I was accompanied by a drummer.
And with his eyes open wide, he replies with a singular mention. Young man, I'll see you in detention.
I had such a wonderful time playing with the rhythm of the drum. I was reminded of my love for hip hop and reminisced about how much I loved making songs for fun as a kid and send them over MSN to friends. This is me freestyling when I was 14.
I was walking through the zoo with my crew. They all knew we were walking through the zoo. I saw a kangaroo. I said, kangaroo, look up to me. He said, can you give me some bamboo? I said, yeah, but I got the flu, so you don't want to share it.
I hadn't really rapped in a long time, and again, whilst in California, a group of friends challenged me to freestyle for fun during a road trip. I came home, and a friend of mine, Bobby Kang, helped me record an EP called Trucks and Textiles.
So I'm juxtaposed to all my foes that be living life code opposed to the righteousness.
And I found myself collaborating with friends and heroes of mine like Dunmith from GNE. This was when I met that person in the audience, Jagdish, my life partner, and the music got elevated.
So just straight dead wrong if they hit him. Make sure you hit him in the jaw, black and blue. Hit him back straight to the floor, rip skin on back from many attacks.
I got the opportunity to be on a lineup with Rackstar, B Magic, and Noise, all huge inspirations. Jagdish and me went to California. We had the opportunity to collaborate with Wise Child and Salvin. They asked if we had any ideas. Jagdish got up and played and sung in Rag Darbari. The music came alive. We continued to freestyle together and make songs for fun.
Even if he thinks he's Jay-Z, I'll be like, alright, come with the rhythm and he come and kill him any man like this. You don't want to see when I come for the bliss. Anyone who want to hold up a fist, I'll be like.
And in late 2018, Deep, Jagdish's younger brother, surprised us by sending us some beats he made. The first song we ever made together was called Space Arti.
Satellites can't hurt, largest Nishan sub is the moon. Electromagnetic energy booms. I'm just stardust, what's the constellation? Beauty of life in the star constellations.
Our library was where we recorded our music, and it became a haven for expression. Here was a place to express and collaborate with your loved ones, which meant the music was more loving and more heartfelt than ever. It became our playground, a place to roam free and share and grow together. We enjoyed our sovereignty and independence, how we could make an entire song and video to share with the world, all on our own. A truly creative and deeply expressive project. We'd often have guests and other inspiring artists come and record music, and they would encourage us to put together a project. 2 years later, and we are here. The poetry became slam poetry, the slam poetry became hip hop, and the hip hop became so much more. Here is our collaborative work, rapping by Nirveer, singing by Jagdish, and production by Deep. Our first album, It'll Work Out, inspired by sick devotional music, our Dharma Geets, exploring how do we define success and greatness today.